Hello.
Good afternoon, GeorgeAnna.
Good afternoon, Debbie.
And how are you this fine, wet day?
We are ready for the questions today.
The first question we have is, what are the Council of Elders?
There are many names for several groups that are in spirit. Some call them the White Brotherhood. Others might call them the Council of Elders. This is a group of spirit guides and enlightened beings that choose to stay in spirit at this point of their journey to assist others. There are some that connect with those here on Earth. Dianne has had a member with her since she was a child. The White Brotherhood often comes or appears dressed in a white cloak with a hood, or wearing whatever is comfortable for them, but in white, whatever suits their personality. Next question.
Who are the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki are beings from another planet who were part of the colonization of Earth. They came here seeking gold and seeking a genetic being that could serve them. So there were many genetic experiments that were done on the people of the earth at that time and on the animals of the earth at that time. They are advanced beings.
A form of extraterrestrial?
Yes, and they have become terrestrial because they are the forefathers of the beings upon this planet. They seeded this planet from what was scientifically called Cro-Magnon man. They are the ones responsible for the missing link. They are the ones responsible for creating beings that are half animal, half human, that ultimately caused the need for a complete wipe or destruction of those beings. And this was the flood that took place to cleanse the earth. They are benevolent, loving beings. They were not here to harm. They were here to populate and create.
So that was their main purpose on Earth?
Yes, there were some who did not always have the people of the Earth's best interests at heart, but most were here solely to do experiments and to create a being that was both intelligent and physically capable.
Of human form or of alien form?
Both. This is the reason there are so many mythologies that talk about Father Sky and Mother Earth, because the father, the seed, came from the Anunnaki, from the sky, and the mother came from the earth. This is why there are different blood types now upon this earth, and why the male has a Y chromosome.
What are those that are done with Earth incarnation? Those that are finished with their incarnation on Earth and are more advanced beings, what do they continue to do?
They continue to teach. They continue to learn. They continue to inspire, whether it is on this planet or on another, or simply in spirit. There are some enlightened beings, as we believe this question is talking about, who have succeeded in reaching the end of an incarnation cycle, as we call it, and they have decided to stay in spirit. There are others who have decided to come back to the earth as needed, when needed. So depending on which person, depends on what they are doing at the time.
There seems to be some confusion around the subject of channeling. Seems that there's a lot of people today that are using that terminology. Can you go into a deeper understanding of, I mean, we've described what it is.
Yes.
Could you clarify this for people that are getting confused about it?
Yes. There are many that are using this word, channeling, to mean that they have connected with their higher self, or they have connected with their spirit guide, or they have connected with a loved one who has passed, or they have connected with a guardian angel. And it is the word that they choose to use to describe all of those things. When we say channeling, as we have had Dianne use it, we mean as we are doing now, when we enter into a body while she is in trance, and we use the body to speak our words, not hers. And there are others who channel using automatic writing, or now automatic typing. And this is when another energy or spirit as is using the hands, the brain and the hands only to send this information forth. When many use the term channeling, as we described earlier, when it is from your higher self, you are simply, in that case, being intuitive. When you are accessing your higher self, it is simply you getting information from yourself. When you access a spirit guide, or a guardian angel, or a loved one to help another, or even when you access your higher self, your source energy, to give help to another when someone asks for a question to be answered, we would call this, as Dianne has, that you are giving a reading, that you are simply asking a question and getting an answer. This is not actually channeling, as we call it. It is as if you are talking to another person. When Dianne speaks to Debbie and Debbie answers, Dianne is not channeling Debbie. That is the best way to explain what is happening. When Debbie asks Dianne a question about what she would like to eat, if she taps into her body and feels what she wants, that is not channeling. That is her simply accessing information that is accessible to her through her body and her higher self, connecting with her own soul. We also know that there is a question about source energy. We do not know if this is written in the questions that you have, but we would like to say that all beings, every person upon this earth, is part of source, is part of the whole that is source. Every being can connect with source energy, universal energy. Someone would call it God energy, or Buddha energy, or Mohammed energy. I don't believe they call it that. But we are saying it is simply or Yahweh energy, Jesus energy. These are all the same. It is source energy. Dianne energy, Debbie energy. Every person is the same. This is very important. Another question?
In seeking knowledge, which is the most effective way of coming to a conclusion? Through science or through study or knowledge?
We would say all three together. It is mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
United. That is the most efficient way. It is understanding of the natural forces of this earth. Being able to understand how chemicals react, how energy moves. And then there are the spiritual aspects. And then there are the reactions that need to be paid attention to. This is part of the scientific method. It's understanding how things work and then watching and testing and retesting. We believe this is what the question is about.
Okay.
It's scientific, but you cannot dismiss the spiritual at the same time. There does not have to be one or the other.
In what state?
In fact, we are sorry, we need to say more.
Okay.
There cannot be an exclusion of anything. There needs to be balance, mind, body, and spirit. Scientific, spiritual need to be balanced. There needs to be an understanding. The spiritual can be developed at the same time. It can be developed at home with the aid of mentors and teachers. But the scientific often requires schooling to understand. We believe this will answer the question.
Is there a form of direct knowledge through source energy?
Are we talking about channeling again, or giving readings?
This particular person has many questions and would like to understand how to channel or understand these questions in a more direct way.
Okay. The best advice that we have for anyone who wants to trust that their information is coming from source, or that their information is coming not from their ego, but from their higher self. We would say that learning to trust your intuition, learning to meditate is important, but it is not the only thing. There must be interaction with others. There must be opportunities to make mistakes. Everyone learns by practice, by repetition, by time. Not everything can happen overnight. And not all people will become a person who can do automatic writing or trance channeling. These are not for everyone. But everyone can work on becoming intuitive and trusting your intuition so that you know that when you give information that you can be confident that it is accurate, or that when you question something yourself and you feel an answer, you can trust that answer and not doubt yourself. Next question.
What is the moment of creation like? The first moment, or the first moment of ego? What does it feel like before you are in ego?
This is two questions. One, as most come into this world through the process called birth, it is very painful and dramatic and very risky. It is a time of forgetting. There is a time when everything is known, when someone is in spirit. They have access to information. Not all will access that information, but it is available. There is a feeling of oneness that we have described previously in much detail. There is a feeling of awakening and enlightenment that does not disappear. It stays. It is a feeling of trusting and knowing that all that you need is provided for you, that your thoughts can manifest instantly. But when a person leaves spirit and becomes a being with an ego, if it happens like it happens for most, it occurs when they are a small baby. They cannot speak. Part of this is because if they could speak, they might still have memories of being in spirit. There is a knowledge that stays for a little while. When they have both, they have a body, and they also have access to trust that they are part of everything. And truly, as a person grows older, there is usually a moment when this knowledge fades away. In some, it is a gradual fading. In others, it will happen in a moment. And to describe how this feels is not an easy task. There are some who have gotten amnesia, and they would be able to describe it best, where one moment they know who they are, and a event happens, and the next moment they do not know who they are, or the memory of who they are is fading, depending on what they have decided, what process they wish to go through during their first years upon the earth in a body. When a person is in spirit, it is beautiful. Everything that is needed is available.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We do have something to add.
Okay.
We often do not talk about Dianne because we know that there are things she wants to keep private. But as you have spoken of the word channeling and the description, the explanation of it, we will say that we have been talking with her for her whole life. We have been helping her write. She did not know that we were there when she was writing or when she would have a thought. She did not understand where it was coming from. There are many like this. Now, because of the way the earth is and the internet, much knowledge is shared everywhere. Years ago, women did not understand, or men did not understand what they were feeling, what they were hearing, what they were seeing. And the veil has thinned, and information is coming forth much faster now, much easier now. We know there are many going through the awakening process, the process of discovering themselves on a spiritual level. In the past, this was only done in a church or synagogue, and the only information that was accepted was that was given by the priest or rabbi, whoever the holy man was. This was the only person that was allowed to have the information given to them by spirit, and they would share it with others. Now it is accepted and it is understood that everyone can access this information if they can focus and believe in themselves and trust. And to go back to one of the first questions, in a past life, Dianne was one of the Anunnaki who came here to assist in the development of this planet, just as Debbie was here exploring the planet. Prior to that, Debbie was what could be called the advanced party, the scouting party that came ahead to look at the earth to see if it was habitable, to see what beings were here at the time. And once that information was brought back, reported back, then the beings that came down to create the race that is called humans, humanoid. Dianne was part of that group. This is why she has strong memories of this, and Debbie does as well. Do you have any questions?
I do not at this time.
Thank you.
We
hope that this will help.
Mm-hmm.
We will go now. All is well.